Welcome back to Raised by Giants live special broadcast. Good to see everyone. Welcome everyone in the chat and any moderators and channel members out there, and to anyone that's listening to the replay. Thanks for joining us. And if you're listening on X or YouTube, follow the show on the audio only podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, anywhere you listen to podcasts. I just released a Ryder Rangers channel members only episode yesterday. That's a summary of all the episodes I've done so far on this case, besides this one. So if you're new, don't be intimidated by this being part 7 of the series. You can sign up to be a Ryder Rangers channel member and knock out all 6 episodes quickly, or you can listen to all the episodes on the channel if you haven't already. I'm going to create a playlist of all the episodes in order. So here soon after I'm done with this episode. So click the more button underneath the title of this video. That'll give you the drop down menu to all of my links and sign up to be a Ryder Ranger channel member. And a big thank you to all of the channel members out there for helping supporting the show. It means a lot to me. Chloe, I seen Chloe in the chat. Chloe is a Ryder Ranger channel member and has been for a really long time. Rob Oz, what's going on, brother? Epstein's sister has just posted on X. Yeah, there's some really strange stuff going on with Epstein. Turns out this Shia LaBeouf, his sister, I believe it is, her last name is Epstein, and she's talking about a lot of this stuff. This whole thing is super convoluted. The entire thing is ridiculously convoluted, but I'm gonna bring that in on later on because I haven't looked up all the information on the Shia LaBeouf stuff. So I don't like to talk about things that I'm not educated on. So, but that is what I heard, that there's something with one of Shia LaBeouf's relatives that is their last name is Epstein, and they're on TikTok and they're talking about all kinds of Epstein stuff. But we can't let this Virginia Giuffre case go. It's already starting to fall out of the public eye. And I don't think people want to look into it because the whole thing is super convoluted. It's super confusing. And today's episode isn't an exception. Okay. The more you learn about this whole thing, the less you know. Which I think is that way with everything. The more you learn about anything, the less you think that you actually have it all figured out. And we don't have all the information on this case. Okay, so that makes it even harder to understand. So let's do a little recap on the last episode that we did, episode part 6. We listened to Pierce Morgan's show with Sky Roberts, Virginia Giuffre's dad, calling for an investigation into Virginia's death, that he's claiming that someone got to her. Lady Veronica Harvey, Prince Andrew's ex-girlfriend, was also on Pierce Morgan defending Prince Andrew, saying that the photo that's been shared around of Prince Andrew, Virginia Giuffre, and Ghislaine Maxwell is fake. And when she was asked about who was funding and propping up her idea that the photo was faked, she said it was 3-letter organizations. Okay. And she says that this photo is fake because she went to the house and she says that there's not enough room between this banister that's right here beside Prince Andrew and the door frame for all 3 of them to be in the photo. So she had a guy standing approximately where Prince Andrew is, but she didn't have someone standing beside of Prince Andrew, and she didn't have someone in a door frame. So it's like circumstantial. She's just saying this stuff. And here's the clip of her saying that her theory is being propped up by the 3-letter organizations.
Come out for many, many years. So I don't even believe they were during that time Do you believe anything that incriminates Andrew or not?
A lot of the girls did not tell the truth.
Who is the great conspirator? Who's organising this conspiracy of yours?
It's the intelligence three-letter word agencies that are wrapped up in this that I'm not going to go into right now because I would rather stay alive. But what
she just said it. She just said it. She said that the three-letter organizations are propping up her entire story and is probably funding her and is probably paying her to go on here and defend Prince Andrew. That the whole thing is funded and propped up by the three-letter organizations, that this photo is faked. She just admitted it. She just said it. So she's being paid by the three-letter organizations. And the three-letter organizations are propping her up to go on these shows and defend Prince Andrew with this ridiculous theory that this photo is faked because she went to the house and took a photo of where the house was. Where this photo was taken, and says that 3 people can't fit into the photo, which is completely ridiculous. It's a ridiculous claim. But we also talked about in the last episode how Virginia is the 3rd Epstein victim to die in the exact same way. This is an article from Fox News. Jeffrey Epstein case, Virginia Giuffre's death marks 3rd loss. Expert says predators need to be punished. Virginia Giuffre, Caroline Andriano, who testified against Ghislaine Maxwell during her sex trafficking trial, died May 23rd of 2023 after an accidental drug overdose in West Palm Beach hotel room in Florida. Leah Sky Patrick died at the age of 29 after a drug overdose in West Palm Beach, Florida in 2017. West Palm Beach police says that the overdose was accidental. So then when you go to the Sun article here, it says that it is understood that Virginia overdosed on pills, but questions remain over whether the overdose was intentional. And her lawyer, Carrie London, says that he believes that it was an accidental suicide during an accidental overdose of drugs, just like the other 2 victims of Jeffrey Epstein have died of a accidental drug overdose, which is highly suspicious. If it's just 1 person or 2 people dying of an accidental drug overdose, but 3 people dying of an accidental drug overdose, it sounds like a setup. But we have new information here, and this is a new article from the Daily Mail. Virginia Giuffre's family make a shocking plea to the public less than 2 weeks after she took her own life. Okay, so this is Virginia Giuffre holding up the photo here on the left. This is the photo of Prince Andrew, Virginia Giuffre, and Ghislaine Maxwell here in the middle. And this is a photo of Virginia Giuffre and her 2 brothers. Okay, so the guy on the left is Sky Roberts, her brother. Okay, but you also have to remember that her dad's name is also Sky Roberts, which I thought was suspicious. That's kind of weird. But then I was like, okay, well, if it's her brother, then it kind of makes sense because her dad, like, people's parents sometimes like to name their children after themselves, right? So, but a lot of times it'll be, if it was Sky Roberts, they would name their son, if they wanted to name him after them, it would be Sky Roberts Jr., but there is no Jr. at the end of his name, which is weird. And the person to the right here of Virginia is her other brother, Daniel Wilson. Okay, which is important. Okay, so the family of sex trafficking victim, this is from the Daily Mail article if you're listening to this on audio only. The family of sex trafficking victim Virginia Giuffre has launched a public fundraiser in her memory because they expect it will take years to divide up her rich estate. They are seeking to raise $15,000 to build a memorial in her memory that will open to the public to visit. Giuffre, 41, took her own life on April 25th at her farmhouse, an hour north of Perth in Australia. Giuffre is one of the most prominent victims of pedophilia. Jeffrey Epstein, claiming he trafficked her for sex at the age of 17 to Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, denied the claims but made an out-of-court settlement with Giuffre in 2002 for an undisclosed sum, reportedly around $25 million. Okay, well, that's more than what the other reports were saying. The other reports were saying that it was around $12 million. This Daily Mail article is saying 25 million. So there's absolutely no way that the entire, if that's what it was, 25 million, that the entire 25 million had already been paid out to her. It would have been over periods of years. So it was settled in 2002. So it's only been 3 years. So I'm confident that she's probably only seen a fraction of that money. And now that she's dead, committed suicide after supposed an accidental overdose, the money is either going to go to her family, which her husband, Robert Giuffre, which is a woman beater, narcissistic, domestic violence abuser, is going to get the money, or her brothers are going to get the money, or her dad, which lives in Florida, is going to get the money. And that's what they're talking about, that it's going to be a dispute over her assets and over her money and who gets the remaining money. Or maybe none of her family gets any of the money, and then the money reverts back to Prince Andrew. We don't know. We'll have to wait for that. Okay, Giuffre's Perth-based lawyer, Kerry Lundin, agreed and told Daily Mail Australia that she did not know if her client even had a will. Yeah, she probably wasn't expecting to die. Her family anticipated a drawn-out process of dividing her assets, which launched a GoFundMe appeal for her mother of 3 in the meantime so she can have a permanent mark in this world. Again, this is the photo of Virginia Giuffre in the middle. To the left is her brother, Sky Roberts. Her dad is also named Sky Roberts. The person on the left here is her other brother, Daniel Wilson. Here's the photo. This might say it here. Yes, Sky Roberts to the left, Danny Wilson with Virginia on the right. Though our family is experiencing immense sense of grief, we know that this will make us stronger, it read. That Virginia would have wanted, that is what Virginia would have wanted. So Virginia would have wanted a GoFundMe to raise money for her memorial. That's what she would have wanted in her death. I don't think that that's what she would have wanted. She would have wanted her freaking death investigated. Like she said in with her tweet here, I am making it publicly known that in no way, shape, or form am I suicidal. I have made this known to my therapist and GP. If something happens to me in the sake of my family, do not let this go away and help me protect them. Too many evil people want to see me quieted. I feel like that's what she would have wanted. She would have wanted an investigation into her death because she's saying that she's not suicidal and she would never kill herself. Okay? That's what she would have wanted. She didn't want a memorial in her name. Okay. She wants an investigation upon her death because she made this statement in 2019 that she would never be suicidal and she would never take her own life. This is her basically saying, if something happens to me, investigate the situation, because I'm speaking out against powerful people and these powerful people want me silenced. That's what this tweet means. Back to the Daily Mail article. With that, we think it is imperative that we find a way to leave her mark on her legacy. Virginia, through her fight and testimony, were able to amass settlements, but unfortunately, through this tragedy, as many of you know, Funds and estates can take years to settle. While her estate is being settled in Australia, her family in America has decided to memorialize and celebrate her sprint. It is our intention with this fund to create a public memorial, not just for her family, but survivors and supporters from all over, and visit a shared space with Virginia. She deserves to have a prominent mark in this world that demonstrates her lasting impact. The family is also thanks supporters. First and foremost, thank you for the outpouring love and support for our beloved Virginia, the appeal added. Which isn't a bad thing. I'm not saying that her having a memorial for her death is a bad thing, or having a memorial for her is a bad thing. That's actually a really good thing. But the first thing on their mind should be investigating her death, especially whenever she said that she would never commit suicide or kill herself. Okay. We know that Virginia is not just a bright light to us, but many, the lives she touched, the strength, the fight that she had given us all to live with us always. They also pledged to continue Giuffre's legacy in fighting with stronger laws to protect victims of sexual abuse and prevent culprits from escaping justice. The family vowed to take on this mission with all our hearts and soul. Her carer and mother figure, Cheryl Myers, told Daily Mail Australia the hope that her work would continue in the plans to turn this farmhouse into a refuge for domestic violence victims and abused animals is what she would have wanted. Absolutely no doubt in my mind, she said. Miss Myers had been employed as Giuffre's carer for more than a year. You mean handler? You mean handler? That's what they mean. A carer. Carer is a handler. For more than a year, and she was by her side through the messy divorce proceedings as well as school bus crash controversy in the weeks before her death. Miss Myers says she loves Giuffre like a daughter and would never get over her loss. She loved her mom, but it showed another side while the mother wasn't there, she told Daily Mail Australia. I was a mother figure. We became more than a carer relationship. Okay, so Cheryl Myers, we're going to have to put a pin in this Cheryl Myers thing because this is really interesting. This is the first time that I've heard her name. We knew that she had a carer because the bus accident was she was the one that was driving the car. The Cheryl Myers lady that the bus driver hit. So we're going to look more into her. Okay, this is Virginia Giuffre and her husband, Robert Giuffre. Okay, so this is Cheryl Myers here. Her carer, her handler. Okay, Virginia Giuffre escaped Jeffrey Epstein's clutches after meeting her husband to be while on a massage training course to Thailand that Epstein had paid for. Finally, we find the article that says that Epstein paid for her massage trip to Thailand where she met her husband, Robert Giuffre. Finally, Daily Mail. Good on you guys. Good on you. Okay. She was a whirlwind romance with a martial arts instructor. They married less than a week later in 2002 before moving to the Central Coast in Australia and setting up a home together. The marriage is believed to have broken down last year with Virginia Giuffre moving into their weekend getaway farmhouse while her husband remained in Perth while the three children, her father, Sky Roberts, said the marriage breakdown was messy. Yeah, because he beat the shit out of her. Okay, so this is a good article here. We're going to hold on to this article. But from reading this article, her two brothers here, which most articles state that they are family, that her two brothers are brothers. Okay, but there's varying accounts of this and the relationship between her and her two brothers. The Wikipedia article here states Virginia Giuffre was born Virginia Louise Roberts in Sacramento, California on August 9th, so she was a Leo, of 1983 to Sky Williams Roberts and Lynn Trude Cabell. She had two stepbrothers, Sky and Daniel. Okay, this is where things get wildly convoluted, weird, strange, confusing, and makes zero sense. Okay, so from all accounts, these two people that are depicted here with Virginia are her stepbrothers. So Sky Roberts here, which has the same name as her dad, is her stepbrother. The guy that's pictured here to her right is also her stepbrother, which is Daniel Wilson. Okay, so we have to examine this timeline of events here because this doesn't make any sense. On all accounts, Virginia, these two people that she's calling her brothers are not really her blood brothers. They are stepbrothers. Now, if they are half brothers, meaning that at least one of them share at least one parent, you wouldn't call them your half brother. You would call them your brother because you share blood with them, regardless if it was both of your parents or if it was just one of your parents. So if this was Virginia Giuffre's dad's son, but it's not her mother's son, then that would be her half brother. And he wouldn't be referred to him as her stepbrother. Stepbrother implies that you are only related through marriage. So one of Virginia Giuffre's parents had to have been previously married twice, or one of them twice, to get these stepbrothers. But then I don't understand how stepbrothers even become a thing, because Virginia Giuffre's dad, Sky Roberts Sr., says that they were he married Virginia Giuffre's mother in Sacramento, California in 1982. Virginia was born in 1983. So if they were married before she was born, then these wouldn't even be stepbrothers. Because there has to be a marriage between two people in order to have stepbrothers. Because stepbrothers is only through marriage. Now, a half brother would be if Virginia's mom had married somebody else, had a kid with somebody else, and then later got married to Virginia's dad, Sky Roberts. That would make Sky Roberts here, or Daniel Wilson, a half brother of Virginia. But that's not what's going on here. These two people are stepbrothers. So the timeline doesn't add up. Virginia was born in 1983 to Lynn Trude Cabell, okay, and Sky Williams Roberts. And Lynn was married to Sky Williams Roberts in 1982 until they were divorced 20 years later in 2002. This is according to Sky Roberts Sr., Virginia's dad. So around 20 years they were married. So for Virginia to have stepbrothers, Sky and Daniel, during her childhood, that's what's reported in Virginia's book. So Virginia's book states that when she was growing up, she had stepbrothers. She had stepbrothers around. Okay, so by 1987, when she was 4, Lynn Cabell and Lynn Cabell, Virginia's mom, would need to have married the stepfather around or between the exact same time from 1980 to 1987. So that suggests that Lynn Cabell remarried while still married to Sky Roberts, Virginia's dad, which makes absolutely no sense. Virginia's dad had said that Virginia's mom divorced in 2002, which doesn't make any sense logically, legally or logically, as stepbrothers require a step parent's marriage, not just a relationship. This is honestly a lot. This is a lot for my mind to handle, and none of it's making sense unless Sky isn't really her dad. It's actually her stepbrother and her dad, which would explain a lot with her upbringing and why she got involved with all this stuff and was a wild kid and ran away from home because she didn't really have a dad. It was her stepbrother. But that doesn't even make sense either, because this Sky Roberts, this is obviously Sky Roberts on the left and Daniel there on the right. But then that begs the question, how does her stepbrother have the same last name as her dad? This whole thing isn't adding up. It's not adding up at all. And I really don't know what to think about it. And her other stepbrother, Daniel, here on the right, his last name is Wilson. Daniel Wilson. But stepbrothers imply that they are of no relation to Virginia and would be of no relation to Virginia's mom or her dad. The only relation would be through marriage. But during the same time when Virginia was born, her mom and dad were married. This makes absolutely no sense as to how she could have stepbrothers. Literally the only way that this could work is if Lynn, Virginia's mother, had a marriage before Sky Roberts and her previous husband had 2 kids. But that doesn't make any sense either, because as soon as the marriage ended, she would never get custody of the kids because they aren't her kids. They would be her spouse's kids. Something's really wrong with this entire situation here, and I don't know what it is. It's very hard to wrap my head around logically. Someone has to be lying big time about these time frames. And stepbrothers aren't family. They are of no relation. Unless her mom is still married to the man that has 2 kids already, but they both have 2 different last names. Sky Roberts has the same last name as Virginia's maiden name and Virginia's dad's name, but her other stepbrother has a completely different last name, Wilson. So the only way that it would work is if they would only be stepbrothers currently if Virginia's mom is still married to the man that has 2 kids. But that doesn't make sense either, because Virginia's mom couldn't have been married to the man that already has 2 kids, because the time frame of when that could happen is the time frame of which Sky Roberts said that he was married to Virginia's mother. Unless he was lying and they were never married. That's the only way that this thing works, is if Virginia's mom was married, had 2 stepchildren. One of them was named Sky Roberts, hooked up with Sky Roberts, which is Virginia's dad, got pregnant with Virginia while still married to this other guy. But then what's the chances of her stepson and having the same name? That's so freaking weird. I don't understand. Maybe it's just a really weird coincidence. But it's even weirder is if Sky Roberts, but if both Sky Roberts are the same person. Sky Roberts, her stepbrother here on the left, he doesn't have a middle name. Well, we can't find his middle name. I'm sure he has a middle name, but no one knows what it is because the information isn't available. Virginia's dad's full name is Sky William Roberts. Her stepbrother on the left here is Sky Roberts. Her other brother is Daniel Wilson. Sky's dad's middle name is William. Both of her stepbrothers have two separate last names. The only thing that I can think of that makes any sense here is if Lynn Cabell, Virginia's mother, was married. Her husband had two kids, Daniel and Sky. Lynn started sleeping with Sky, which would be her stepson, got pregnant with this kid. That kid she made out to be her current husband's kid and may not have known for sure whose kid it was, but opted to at least give the perception that it's her husband's kid instead of it being her stepson's kid, and named that kid after Sky Roberts. That's how we get the other Sky Roberts from the marriage. But it's not the current husband's kid, it's his son's kid. I know that sounds crazy. And it might be. I might be way off base here, but that's the only thing that makes any sense without having all the information. They then do it again. Sky Roberts gets Lynn pregnant again, and then out comes Virginia here in the middle. And Sky and Virginia may have went by a different last name. That's why there's absolutely zero information about them online. They ended up changing it later when they found out. I mean, this is the only thing that I can put together. But a few things had to happen in order to come to this conclusion. So the theory relies upon Sky Roberts Sr. lying about being married to Lynn, which I have no factual information that that's the case. But it relies on Sky Roberts, Virginia's dad, lying about being married to Lynn and she's married to someone else and having his kid. Possibly the son of the person that she married. And in the beginning, or maybe ever, maybe they were never even married. They could have gotten married after she split her current husband in California when they moved to Florida. But this would mean that at least until age 4, when they moved to Florida, Virginia believed her dad was her stepbrother. I don't know. But in order to prove this, we'd have to see a birth certificate of Virginia Giuffre, which would tell us exactly what's going on. It would show who the father is and Virginia's mother's last name at the time Virginia was born, proving if she was married to Sky Roberts at the time, and if she was, then I have absolutely no idea what's going on. It makes even less sense if Sky Roberts Sr. is telling the truth about being married to Virginia's mother when she was born, because where did the stepbrother come from? It's not possible for these two stepbrothers to exist if they were married at the time of Virginia's birth. And then Virginia says that she grew up with stepbrothers and Virginia's dad and her mother stayed married until 2002. And Virginia grew up with stepbrothers. Okay. It's not possible unless she's calling close friends stepbrothers. But that would be, regardless if they're close friends or if they're stepbrothers, that would mean that they're 100% no relation to Virginia at all. Not even through marriage. The only other scenario is that Virginia is lying about having stepbrothers when she was growing up, which could make a lot of sense because Sky Roberts Jr., from what's been shaping up to be, looks like he was born and raised in Colorado, which then throws a completely different wrench into this whole thing. Sky Roberts here on the left lives in Colorado and is reportedly from Colorado. So how could he be a stepbrother to Virginia when they were never even reportedly in Colorado? Sky Roberts, Virginia's dad, never worked in Colorado. He worked in California, and when they moved to Florida, whenever she was 4, he started working at Mar-a-Lago. That's where they met Jeffrey Epstein. Unless Virginia's dad is in on all this whole thing. I mean, how could she grow up in California with stepbrothers when one of them, Sky Roberts here on the left, is from Colorado Springs? Yeah, that's right, Jackie. But the thing is that Sky Roberts does have Virginia's last name, Roberts, which makes absolutely no sense if they're stepbrothers. Doesn't make any sense. Okay, so let's get into. I did a little digging on Facebook. Facebook is like the best freaking place to do investigation work. So this is Sky Roberts' profile. This is Virginia Giuffre's stepbrother, Sky Roberts. It says that he went to Palmer High School, lives in Colorado Springs, Colorado, from Colorado Springs, Colorado. Married. Oh, wow. It's showing a butterfly there. That's a monarch butterfly. Okay, now here is her other brother, Daniel Wilson. Which, oh, what do you know? He works as a quality specialist at Blue Origin. Lives in Van Horn, Texas. From Juno Beach, Florida. So if Sky Roberts is from Colorado, lives in Colorado, Daniel Wilson is from Florida, lived in Florida, but now lives in Texas, none of this is adding up. None of it makes sense. Someone's lying. Virginia's lying, or Virginia's dad is lying. Okay, here is, let's go to Sky Roberts, Virginia Giuffre's dad's Facebook page. I sent him a friend's request because I'm going to try and get him on the show and talk to him. So, former medical engineer at Mar-a-Lago, studied science and engineering at Florida Atlantic University, went to Luther Burbank, lives in Summerfield, Florida, from Sacramento, California. Oh, but what do you know here? Old Sky Roberts is also A cross-dresser. What do you know? What do you know? This right here is Sky Roberts, Virginia Giuffre's dad, cross-dressing as a woman. And this is Sky Roberts' current wife, Kimberly Roberts. I love this picture, Sky. Your makeup looks better than mine. Oh my god. Oh my god. Hey, listen, whatever makes you happy. Whatever makes you happy. If you want to dress up like a woman wearing a Broncos shirt, put makeup and lipstick on and eyeliner and eyeshadow, who am I to tell you you can't do that? Okay, you're a grown ass man. You're a grown ass man. You can do whatever you want. But it's a little freaking weird. It's a little freaking weird, bro. That's Virginia Giuffre's dad cross-dressing as a woman. This is him right here. I'm glad I'm documenting this because they're probably going to make all their Facebooks private after this episode comes out. So let's look through Sky Roberts photos here. Oh no, let's do Daniel Wilson that works at Blue Origin. Oh, also Sky Roberts. I think this is a different page. He also worked for Tesla. I think this is his new page, but I've seen another page of his where he worked at Tesla. So both of Virginia's stepbrothers work for people that are currently on rocketry and trying to put people in space. It's a little weird. It's a little odd. I don't know what it means, but how do we get out of that? Okay, let's go back to Daniel Wilson's page here. Scroll through his photos. So his profile picture is of Sky Roberts and Virginia Giuffre, but this is Daniel Wilson. Scroll through here. There's all three of them. Tunar, some pictures of his dogs. Here's him in front of a Blue Origin test rocket. It's him and his wife. Okay, so here's a photo of him in Sacramento. There's the Golden Gate Bridge right behind him. This is taken whenever he was a kid in Sacramento. So he did go to, I guess, frequently go to California from Colorado, even though he's born and raised in Colorado. I'm guessing that this is him and his stepbrother. Here's more of him. I think there's an older photo of him and his brother back here. Oh, here it is. So this is apparently his mom. So, and this looks like Sky Roberts here. This little kid, Sky Roberts. So he is much older than his brother, Sky Roberts, and this may be Virginia's mom or it's his real mom. I don't know. This whole thing is so freaking confusing. But this little kid here looks like Virginia's stepbrother, Sky Roberts. Let's get out of this and I'll bring back up that picture of them together. Okay, so look at the ears here. See the ears? How they kind of curve out there a little bit. They look like the same ears as this photo here of this younger kid. You can change some stuff about the face, but you can't change stuff about the ears. Ears are always going to be the same, and they look very similar to the ears, but this just makes even less sense. Even less sense. If this is Daniel Wilson right here, and this is his mother, and this is Sky Roberts, Daniel is from Florida. Sky Roberts is from Colorado, born and raised. So where are they all together, and how are they all stepbrothers? Stepbrothers and sisters. This makes absolutely no sense. And I don't even know how to wrap my mind around it. I'm going to have to try and somehow get a birth certificate of Virginia Giuffre. A DNA test would solve this one. Yes, it would. Yes, it would. But Virginia's dead now. I mean, I guess they could get her DNA, but it appears that Daniel here in the middle, which I'm just guessing that this is him here with his mom. I'm guessing that Daniel is of no relation to Sky Roberts Sr. He would be of no relation. They aren't friends on his Facebook profile. Now, Sky Roberts Sr. is friends with Sky Roberts Jr., which could entail that Sky Roberts Jr. is Sky Roberts Sr.'s kid. So that could be what's going on here. I mean, Virginia's mom could have been previously married to someone named Wilson in California. They could have had a kid together, which then would be Danny Wilson, here depicted on the right of Virginia Giuffre. This could be Danny Wilson from a previous marriage between Lynn Cabell, Virginia's mom. He could be a son of her husband, which would but still wouldn't make them stepbrothers because they later got divorced and Virginia's mom married Virginia's dad, Sky Roberts. That would make them of no relation. That would make them of no stepbrothers at all, because it would be a kid from a previous. Oh, I guess, yeah, I guess it would be. Yeah, it would be, because Virginia's mom would have had a kid with another man in an earlier marriage. So Daniel Wilson would be Virginia's half brother, but no relation to Sky Roberts Sr. So then they would have picked up and got married. So Virginia divorced this Wilson guy in California, then got married to Sky Roberts, Virginia's dad, moved to Florida, and then had Sky Roberts. But that would make them real brothers. That would make Virginia and Sky Roberts real brothers. They wouldn't be stepbrothers or even half brothers. So why are they saying that they're stepbrothers if they're not stepbrothers? You wouldn't call someone a stepbrother if they're your half brother. They would be your brother. You would just call them your brother because you're actually related to them by blood from either your father or your mother. So I guess the only way that it could work is if Virginia's mother got married to a man but with the last name of Wilson in California a few years earlier than when she met Sky Roberts. She had a kid with that man with the last name Williams. That would be Virginia's half brother. She then divorced that man. That's how Virginia grew up with a stepbrother in California. She then married Sky Roberts, Virginia's dad, had Virginia a few years later, picked up, moved to Florida whenever Virginia was 4, and then had Sky Roberts, Virginia's other brother in Florida. That's the only thing that I can think of. But there's not any, but we don't know if Sky Roberts came from Virginia's dad and mom both together, or if Sky Roberts got another woman pregnant, which then would make Sky Roberts her half brother. So either way, both of these guys are Virginia's half brother. And that's under the assumption. I don't have the documentation to prove it because there's very little information on any of this online. You can't dig into any of Virginia's background of their family. So you're relying on like all these articles. But I'm going to try and obtain a birth certificate of Virginia Giuffre and see what the birth certificate says. I mean, I won't be able to get a copy, but I should be able to take a look at it and see what names are on the birth certificate, and that would clear literally everything up. But it's shaping up like both of these guys are Virginia's half brothers, not stepbrothers. So why would you call them your stepbrothers if they're more of an actual brother because they share blood with one of your parents? You would just call them your brothers. Because Wilson had to have came from another marriage from Virginia Giuffre's mom, a previous marriage that she had a kid with. And then Sky Roberts had to come from either Virginia or from Sky or from both of them. But it doesn't make any sense. Still doesn't make sense because we don't know where Sky came from. And with Sky being from Colorado makes even less sense. And Wilson being from Florida. But Wilson had to be from a previous relationship in California, a previous marriage for any of this. Yeah, that's right, Jackie. Yeah, you're going to call your half siblings because you share blood with them. You're just going to call them your brother and your sister. But if they're not your half brother or half sister, you're going to call them your stepbrother and stepsister. You're never going to call your half brother or half sister stepsister or stepbrother. Makes no sense. And how can Sky be from Colorado, Wilson be from Florida, when Wilson had to be born in California? Unless he went with them to Florida and that's all that he knew. Maybe he was very young. maybe the mother got custody. Maybe Virginia Giuffre's mother got custody of Wilson because it is really her kid in California from a previous marriage, and then they all picked up. And he would have had to have been really young. He would have had to have been like 3 or 4 years old, and that's all that he knew was Florida, because that's where he grew up in, was Florida. That could be the case, but that doesn't explain how Sky Williams is from Colorado. Daniel Wilson. Daniel Wilson is his name. Here on the right. So we explained where Wilson came from. It could have been that it legitimately was Virginia's son from a previous marriage before Sky Williams, before Virginia's mom had married Sky Roberts Sr. They all picked up, moved to Florida. Virginia and Daniel were both very young, but then it doesn't explain where Sky came from when his Facebook page says that he's from Colorado. How does he have Virginia and Virginia's dad's last name? So it has to be Virginia's dad's son, but I don't know how it happened. We don't know how it happened. Or whose son he is. But just by the last names, it seems like that it's Virginia's dad's son, Sky Roberts, because they both have the exact same name. That's the only thing that makes sense to me, guys. I don't know. Super convoluted, super confusing. Hard to make sense of all of it, but I'm going to do my best to 100% figure it out. And whenever I figure it out, I'll definitely let you know. But I think that her family's history has been hidden for a reason, because there's something funky going on here. Something funky going on here, and there's something between Virginia and her dad that she had to find out about that made her estranged from him, to where she wouldn't really talk to him. And another weird thing that a viewer and a listener sent me an email about from the last episode with Pierce Morgan interviewing Prince Andrew's ex-girlfriend and Sky Roberts, Virginia's dad, was that there was a question that was brought to Sky Roberts about whenever he first saw the photo between Virginia, Prince Andrew, and Ghislaine Maxwell. And he said his mom was the first one to show him the photo. So I don't know how his mom would have. Why didn't he have access to the photo? Why didn't Virginia first show him the photo? Why would Sky Roberts's mom have the photo, and that's how he originally seen it? Jackie, I found out my father was a cross-dresser. That could put a wedge between us. That definitely him being a cross-dresser. Had to be it. 100%. Hey, you're an adult. You can do whatever you want, but it's weird. That's all I'm going to say. And I would like to speak to Virginia Giuffre's father, Sky Roberts. Love to bring him on the show. Love to bring anybody from Virginia Giuffre's family on the show. And this wasn't a show of anything disparaging about them. I'm just trying to find the information, because the information isn't readily available. It's very difficult to find this stuff. You have to comb through articles and articles and articles and read so much shit to even get a little glimmer of what's going on in this family dynamic. Could be GG. Could be. It feels like they're all in on it. They're all in on the take. The whole family. The whole family. All right, guys. If you guys get any more information, or if you can make sense of this whole family dynamic and her stepbrothers and half brothers, freaking real brothers, please leave your thoughts and your comments below and send me information. You can reach out to me on X at Raised by Giants 8 or Instagram at Raised by Giants Pod. And once I figure out more information on this entire thing, photos can be planted to make a story, but someone could have missed the details. Yeah, it could be. Oh, that's the kind of thing that Veronica Harvey, the ex-girlfriend of Prince Andrew, is trying to say, that the photo is wrong, that the photo is faked. Yeah, GG, I've heard that Sean Atwood is doing a series on this. I don't know how far they're into it. Someone else just said that they're 10 episodes into it. I haven't listened to any of them because I don't want the information to overlap. Not too sure, but yeah. Thanks, guys. Appreciate each and every single one of you. Please be sure to hit the thumbs up button, help the channel in the algorithm, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon as well for notifications. And please leave your comments. Reach out to me if you find out any more information, or someone does a crazy deep dive on her family tree. Please let me know, but I want to continue working on it and trying to figure this whole thing out. And yeah, please leave your comments and any thoughts and theories that you have below. And should be back on, maybe back tomorrow if I can find out more information on this and get some more documentation to figure out this whole family tree stuff, because it's super convoluted. But if not, I'll definitely be back on Friday with a new show, with a new interview. And yeah. Okay, guys, we'll see you all next time. Have a good rest of your week, and we may see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.